Hi guys, so with Die Cutting Essential Series magazine issue 133 we are getting these lovely Christmas dies. So these are by Lisa Horton and it is the Christmas Wishes Mega Value Sentiment and die set. So we have a Merry and Bright. You can see how lovely and large this is. We have this wiry stringy swirly line for the Christmas lights, to which we have two bulbs in here. I'm not sure if these are the same size. Almost. No, they are exactly the same size. And then we have this bow die. How cute is this? I love bows. We have a poinsettia. And we have a leafy foliage. So for this commission I have to make 5 cards using the dies, but not only die cutting but doing some techniques as well. So I have to make 1 circle, 1 square, 3 other choice of line making, and my color combination that I have to work with you can see on my screen now. And I'm gonna go off, prepare some stuff, and then I'll be back. So for my first card, I have a 7 by 3.5 inch DL card base in here. I cut my card to 7 by 7 and scored line halfway at 3.5 inches. And then I have a piece of card in here which I cut to 1.5, I believe. It's 1.5 inches wide and 7 inches long, and then one that is slightly wider than the 1.5, and I added worn lipstick color to the edges of that one, layered those up, and I put these up on foam pads. This will be running down in the middle of my card, just like so. Then I have a bunch of these foliage prepared in here. All of these were colored in with bundled sage, and then all around the edges I just added a little bit of an ink blending with pine needles just to add a little bit of a dimension with all those colors in there. So I have a bunch of these prepared, loads and loads, and some of these I even cut into so I get different parts of the foliage used. Then I have a bunch of these little Christmas lights colored in. I used 2 different colors, the blues and the pinks. So for the pink ones I went with sponge sugar, and all around the edges I went with Kitsch Flamingo. And for this one I used a salvage patina, and all around the edges I went around with broken china. So these are the 2 color variations that I will be using. And for my sentiment I have die cut and then snipped into the die and cut all the letters out separately, and I have Mary in here. And I have not yet thought of I'm planning to find a stamp that says Christmas, so I will be adding sorry, Christmas across the bottom in there, but I will deal with that later and I will show you. So my plan is to arrange the foliage, all different ones, and down the 2 sides of this strip, and then I will be tucking the little bulbs just in amongst those. So I'll do that, and then I will come back to and show you what it looks like. So I have prepared a few things. You can see this looks like a hot mess now, but I ran a couple of strips of double-sided tape in there and just helped me really just hold those foliage bits in place. And this one is popped up on foam pads. I added my Mary in there too. This is going to be running in the middle of there, and you can see how that lovely it already tied this my card up. Now I have all these bulbs in here, and I'm going to start arranging them, just poking out here and there from underneath the foliage there. I'm actually going to do this with my glue gel. It is going to leave me with some wriggle room and also leave some lovely dimension in there. And I also have this sentiment stamped Christmas, and I used the worn lipstick Distress Oxiding just to tie it in with the Mary, and I'm just going to leave this in here like so. And I think I'm just going to use my I was trying to stamp it with blue, but I wasn't too keen on that, so I just restamped it on the other side. So I'm just going to add some glue in there. Added there, just overhanging a bit of the edge. And what I'm going to do, just brought in my sparkle pen from Spectrum Noir, and I'm just going to add a little sparkle to these baubles. And that just finishes it off so pretty. I'm going to let this dry, and at the very end I will show you some close-ups when it's all lovely and dry. I really like this card. I really love how this turned out. Those Christmas lights are just so cute. I really love them. Right, okay, so this is card number 1 finished. So for card number 2, I created my circle card, and I've already created the card base. So I have 2 white circles, which is the largest ones. I use 6 3/4 of an inch. I've created a hinge on one of them at around 1 inch from the top, and I use that to attach my card front to the back panel. Okay, I also cut away a little sliver from the back so my card can stand up nicely. Then I added a smaller gold circle, and then an even smaller white one. It is the one that you can see it in the middle in there. It's in around to there. It's just so it's not large enough so it can show in here, but it's just I wanted a white base to there. Then I have this white frame, which is about 1 1/4 of an inch in width, and a tiny gold frame going around this opening because I wanted to have an aperture in there. This is where I will be putting my sentiment in, and I will be decorating all around that circle. So I've die cut a lot of this leafy foliage, and to add this lovely shimmery color to it, I used the Luscious pigment powder by Indigo Blue, and this one is the green color, and I just mixed some of it with some water and just very simply went on and added it with my brush. This dry very quickly, and I'm not using a lot of water, so you don't need to use watercolor cardstock for this, but these turned out super lovely, super sparkly and pigmented. I hope you can pick up on all that. Again, at the end of this video, I'll have some close-ups for you. Then I've die cut some flowers, and on half of those, I decided to cut away some of these petals, the ones that are kind of sitting behind the larger ones. And I done that to 7 of these and left 7 of the flowers just in whole. So I used worn lipstick to add the color to all my poinsettias, and then I layered them up. So I add just a little bit of a hot glue in the middle of the full flower. And then the ones that I cut petals away from, I just kind of pinch up for a little bit of a dimension, and I set it on top of that glue. And I used it was the Kitsch Flamingo that I used for my bows. For the sentiment, I ink blended a broken china and salvage patina in like an ombre effect. You can see the blues coming into those tealy ones from the top to the bottom. And I am also going to layer these on top of some more white die cuts. I have 3 die cuts in here, glued together, and this one will be glued on top. So I have glued the sentiment in there. You can see how lovely and dimensional it is. It's not as high as the frame in here, raised on foam pads, but it is still lovely and dimensional, and it does show in there, most certainly it does. And I just used liquid glue to glue this down. For all my embellishments, I'm going to bring in my Pin Flare glue gel. And what I'm planning to do, I have 2 of the bows glued together with glue gel. I'm trying not to move this until the glue dries. It takes a little while, but that's why that's one of the advantages of this glue, that it gives you lots of wiggle room to get everything in place. So I'm going to use the flowers which are already layered up, and they're looking so lovely all around in here, like so. And then I'm just going to fill out with all the foliage in between the flowers. For some finishing touches, I am adding gold rhinestone in the middle of each flower and just one pink pearl in the middle of that bow. And this finishes off card number 2. Just how lovely that is. I love all the colors on this. Really, really pretty Christmas wreath card. So that's card number 2 done. So for card number 3, for my base, I went with a 6x6 inch square card. So I had a 12x6 inch card base scored down in half. I have inked up the front of my card with salvage patina. And then I added a slightly smaller layer, 5 7/8 of an inch of the holographic card and 5 3/4 of an inch of plain white card. So I did the same with this square. The largest one, measuring 3 3/4 of an inch, has that salvage patina edging, and then the next one down 3 5/8 of an inch is the holographic silver card, and then the smallest one, the white one, measures 3.5 inches squared. I have these popped up on foam pads, and this will be sitting just like so. I've taken the sentiment from the set, die cut it from white card, and inked it up with worn lipstick Distress Oxide ink. And you can see how lovely and sparkly that is. It is because I heat embossed it on top of the worn lipstick with a raspberry, which is a translucent embossing glitter, and I absolutely love this. It is so pretty. You'll see in a minute what it looks like when there's no color underneath, because it's translucent, it changes the color. So I will be gluing this on here with the swirly string die. I've die cut 4 times from holographic card, the same holographic as I'm using on the backgrounds there, and I will be, well, I'm planning to glue these onto the 4 sides just like so. And then I have prepared some light bulbs, and they are in here. So what I did, I've die cut these from a silver holographic card like this, and then from white card as well. So you can see I've offset them. You can just about pick up on that hint of a holographic, but you can see all that gorgeous glitter. So there's these are like bluey tealy colors. I have some green ones, and I have the pink ones in here. They're all lovely and sparkly. They're all heat embossed. So you can see how that raspberry pink embossing powder looks quite different once you add it to just plain white card. So there's so many colors that you can create with these translucent embossing glitters, and I absolutely love it. So I will be using these 3 colors. For the other 2, the embossing glitters that I used in the park, and these are all by Wow. You see how lovely and glittery that is. And for the tealy is Totally Teal. This one I actually had in my stash for many years. I'm so happy I'm making use of it. This one I got when I won the competition in 2023, and this one I ordered quite a while ago. I'm sure I used it on some of my Christmas cards last year. It's very pretty green. Okay, so the plan is to glue these in here. I don't think I'm gonna add any extra dimension to this here. Just going to glue it flat onto that square. Going to stick these on, and then have the bulbs hanging in all directions. And then I will look about the sorry, I'm losing my voice here. And then I will look about what to add or not in the 4 corners of the card. All right, guys, disaster struck with card number 3. I'm gonna bring you on a little journey with it here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I should have listened to myself, but I didn't. So the first mistake that I done, I glued this on and it wasn't straight. And I saw right away that it wasn't straight, but I thought that I could salvage it. I don't know why I thought that. I went on decorating the whole card. So I added these strings onto the 4 sides. I added all the light bulbs. And then I came in to decorate the corners, and I just could not. I just did not like it. This here just was wrong. So I started to disassemble it, took off all the light bulbs, whatever I could salvage, And then I added a little bit of an ink blending in the corner there just to see if I like that, and that idea I did love. So you'll see on the new card I have ink blended all the corners before gluing it down. So the new card, da-da-da-da, much happier with this. So the things that I changed for this one, I didn't plan to add any more layers behind it, but I ended up adding it, and I'm much happier that I did. I'm so sorry about my voice. I don't know what keeps happening here, but I added more layers, and then I ink blended in all 4 corners, and to do that I used tumbled glass distress oxide ink. And then I added all the light bulbs. Now, because this here is popped up on foam pad, I needed to pop up the light bulbs too. However, it still didn't make up for the height difference because there's extra layers on top of that, plus the string as well. So as well as little foam pads, I added a bit of a glue gel on it too, a pin flare glue gel, and that just helps making up for all that height difference. And then I just added these AB silver rhinestones in all 4 corners. I'm much happier with it. Because in all honesty, first I thought that I will be adding these pink bows that I prepared in the corners. And I did not like it. It was too busy. Once the light bulbs were sitting in there too, it was just way too busy. And it just did not look right at all. So yeah, I am much happier with this one. I'm happy that I redone it because this here sitting on a much better height looks already much better than it just being flat on the card. So yeah, so card number 3 eventually here it is, and I absolutely love how it turned out. I think it was worth that extra effort of making it again without the mistakes. So yeah, I really love how this one turned out. So this is card number 3. Alright guys, so the time has run away with me quite a bit, so late in the night. Just got so busy with all different things that I don't have a footage for the last 2 cards with all the prepping and I put them together, but I do have the cards to show you. So card number 4 is this 5x7" card, and I absolutely adore this one. It's so much fun. It was really much fun to put this one together. So I added worn lipstick, no, spun sugar, sorry, spun sugar on the front panel of the card. So it's not an extra panel. I inked up the front panel of the card. And then I don't know if you can pick up on all that detail in the 4 corners. So I used the die to emboss it into the cardstock, and the way I done it is using my silicone mat with the die cutting machine, but always turn to your machine's manufacturer because all die cutting machines work differently. So it's not cut out of the card, but it's embossed into it as if I'd used an embossing folder. I really love all the detail that shows up on it. It's a really fun technique to use. Then I inked up pieces of white cardstock with all different things. I used salvage patina, spun sugar, worn lipstick, pine needles, and sage, bundled sage. And then once that was dry, I die cut it multiple times, and I have loads of it left over. This is not even all of the ones that I had left over. I can show you how much easier it was to die cut them from the colored card rather than having to die cut them from white and coloring them in individually, especially when you're using this much. This would be enough for another card and all the rest that I have in there somewhere. So what I did then, I took an embossing pen, which I absolutely love using to add details to my die cuts. Added a bit of embossing ink in there at the end of each bulb, heat embossed it using polished silver embossing powder. And I'm left with that metal, can't show you there, left with a metallic look, can you see, at the end of each light bulb. Then I die cut the strings from white cardstock and heat embossed again with that same silver embossing powder. I arranged them all over that white card, which measures, by the way, let me give you the measurements to that one, can't remember. 4.5 by 6.5 inches. And then I glued on all the light bulbs as well. Then I added it onto a slightly larger card, which the edges of I embossed again with the polished silver embossing powder. And then I put the two on foam pads and attached it to the card front in there. Then I cut out Let It Shine. It is Let It Shine is from the Sparkle Sentiment Builder Stamp and Die set from Chloe's Creative Cards. I only use the Let It and the Shine dies. And then the Bright is from the Sentiment stamp set, that Sentiment die set that came with this kit. And I silver hit embossed all of those. I added them to a piece of vellum, which I cut into an oval shape, and then a smaller oval with white cardstock. I had double-sided tape attached to that, so then I was able to stick my vellum on top of it very easily. Popped it on foam pads and just added it onto the card, and this turned out so cute. I really love this. Really fun to put together. So card number 5, I went with this would be like a big binding fold in this orientation, but to spice things up a bit, I went with a portrait orientation. So I have that section. It's a 3/4 of an inch of a section in there. The card below it measures 4 by 6 inches. So the entire card would be 6 3/4 by 4 inches. How lovely is this? Okay, so just very quickly walking you through. I inked up the edges of this card, attached it to, I edged with glitter this white card, and then I added it to a slightly larger black card and onto the card base, all just glued on flat. This bit here is inked up with worn lipstick. Now I die cut lots of the foliage, some of the flowers, the bulbs and the bows, and I added colors using my Distress Oxidings to all these. Then I used glitter to add all the sparkle to my light bulbs and one of the bows, which I left white. And then I added the border and I cascaded everything else down from it, all the foliage, and then I decorated it with the flowers and the bulbs. I added rhinestones in the middle of each flower and a pearl in the middle of the bow, and there's just a little bit of a foam pad to separate the 2 layers of the bow in there. It adds some fun dimension. Die cut Mary from white card and black one. The white one I added color to using worn lipstick, Distress Oxiding, layered them up, offsetting slightly, and just glued it straight onto the card. And I printed out the word B. I could not find a stamp in all my stash that said B. My goodness, I went through packets and packets of stuff. I just could not find one. So I printed out the word B, edged it lightly just with worn lipstick, and glued it on there too. And this is card number 5. I think it is so pretty. So I'm gonna bring in all the cards to show you now. So this one, number 5, number 4, I loved putting this one together, number 3, number 2, and number 1. So I absolutely love this arrangement of cards. Oh my goodness, they're so pretty, so colorful. This die set was a dream to work with. I could not wait to sit down to make these, and oh my goodness, such a lovely Christmas set. So if you are looking for something nice and affordable, if you're starting off crafting or looking for something new, this Lisa Horton die set from Die Cutting Essential Magazines 133 is definitely a go-to die set. Just look at this arrangement. I barely added anything else to this other than the B word and then the Christmas stamp in here, this, oh, and then the Let It Shine. This is everything just using this one die set. I mean, wow. I really love this. Do let me know which one is your favorite. I cannot wait to read your comments in the comment section below. If you liked my video today, please do not forget to give me the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet done so. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload some new videos. If you want to share this video crafty friends, I would just absolutely appreciate that. So I really hope to see you back soon with my next one. Until then, bye.